the Hassan Saad Show. It's your host, Hassan Saad. I've got with me Khalil, and we're going to talk about advanced ancient civilizations, cryptocurrency in the UAE, aliens, conspiracies, you name it. Yeah, 100%. Right?
He's got a crazy guy in this episode, so...
So stay tuned and buckle up. Khalil is a longtime friend, born in Canada and brought up in the UAE. So let's take a little bit of a dig into what goes through Khalil's mind. Khalil, what's going on, man? Thank you for coming to the show.
Oh, thank you so much, Hassan. It's great to be here. You know, I got pretty excited when you told me that you started doing podcasts, because I never heard of anyone here doing a podcast, you know? Like, I might have heard of a few people, but, like, no one personal, you know?
No one personal that you know, eh?
So the fact that you asked me to, like, come up here, like, honestly, this is a great honor. And I'm excited to see, like, what kind of content you end up producing, you know?
100%, yeah, definitely. Actually, funny thing is, Khalil was one of the people that actually helped me or motivated me to start the podcast. If you remember that one time we were sitting and you were telling me, like, we were talking and we're going into, like, different subjects and, you know, you name it, we're talking about it. And he's like, you know, we should do a podcast. And I'm like, you know what? Yeah, we should.
Can I give a little bit of flavor to that story?
Sure, man. Yeah. 100%.
So I had this course for my work, right? All right. So my work, all right. I've known Hassan from like 6-7 years ago, back when I was in university, and then he just disappeared all of a sudden. He went to Canada, and we lost touch for a very long time,
That's
right?
True. Yeah.
And one day, my work asked me to go take this course. It was for effective sales representations or something like that.
Effective sales.
Yeah, effective sales techniques. And I was like, all right. And for some reason, I was the only guy that registered for the class. Like, my work gave me an option of like 10 courses. And I found that the most interesting. Everyone else took like some whatever course, a yellow course or whatever. So I walk in. And I look at this guy and I go like, yo, is this Hassan? But I was like, he didn't give me any reaction. Plus, the last time I saw Hassan, he was like, you know, super fit, he was going to the gym a lot. He was like maybe 80 kilos, 85 kilos. And what I saw was like, you know, a pretty big guy. So I was like, bro, I'm pretty sure this is Hassan, but he's not saying anything. So I was like, yo, hi, I'm Hassan. It's very nice to meet you. And I go like, yeah, hi, I'm Khalil. No, he didn't even say he's Hassan. He didn't even say his name. He's like, hi, it was nice to meet you and everything. And I was just like, all right. So we get to chatting. He starts explaining a few things. You know, it was a bit awkward because I was the only student in the class.
Oh, man.
And it was a whole last class. You know, like they booked an entire room for like 30 people. And I was just the only guy there. And he's teaching like, it's like he's teaching a class for 30 people. I'm like the only guy there.
It was awkward.
Yeah. But no, what was more awkward was what was about to happen. Right?
Unexpected.
So I noticed his accent and I noticed like, he still didn't tell me his name, so I just couldn't connect the dots. So I asked him, I go like, where are you from, by the way, Hassan? He says, I'm Canadian, but I'm originally Egyptian.
And that's when it registered.
I was like, Hassan!
Hassanin! As soon as he said Hassanin, I was like...
He looked at me funny, he was like, Khalil? I was like, no, man.
Oh, man.
And just imagine, like, you gotta go take a 3-day course, and you're the only student, and the professor's like one of your buddies.
Yeah.
So I noticed that my professor, or teacher, or whatever is my buddy, right?
Honestly, and it's awkward for me too, because, you know, you gotta take into account, I need to deliver a 3-day course for one person. And I'm going in like, oh, like, come on, there's only one person. It's fine, but like, it's going to be a coaching. It's going to be a one-to-one. And I'm like,
by the way,
I need to click with the person I'm talking to.
That company, every single teacher I had in that company, I'd always be the only person.
You'd always be the
Every single class. I don't know why.
That is weird. I'm going to have to talk to them about that. Maybe I'll talk to
them.
Yeah,
but like, it just shows like determination. Like, honestly. Oh, we managed to get one guy for like, that's good enough. One guy, whatever, you know. Right. What do you have to lose? You know?
And I didn't recognize you either. Like, I walked in and I was just setting up.
I gained a bit of weight.
7 years ago. And like, yeah. So, yeah, as soon as we clicked, that's when we were like, yeah, we're just talking about a lot of things. And don't get me wrong, we did a lot of sales stuff too, but in between, so I don't get in trouble. 100%.
No, we really did go through the course like knife through butter, you know.
100%. Yeah. And then we talked and we're like, yeah, should start a podcast together. And here we are, man. And here we are.
Just a few comments evolved, right?
100%. Let's jump into cryptocurrency. So I know a little bit of background. Khalil got me into leveraging. Khalil, can you tell me what leveraging is and how I lost money leveraging?
You lost
I lost a little bit of money leveraging.
Listen, if you picked the right direction, you wouldn't be talking to me about this, all right? You'd be somewhere in the Bahamas.
Oh my God.
All right? So listen, a lot of you probably already know what leveraging is, but for those who don't know, it's basically the act of borrowing money from the broker to increase the strength of your position. So let's say, for example, I have $100 and I want to invest it in, let's say, for example, Ripple, XRP, right? But I want to buy more XRP than the $100 can. But because I'm confident that it's going to keep going up and it's not going to go down to test, I can ask the broker to, instead of giving me $100, give me $1,000. And if it were to go down as much as a percentage where I'm not able to cover the extra $900 they gave me, then it would automatically close my position. Which is different from just spot trading, where you just buy the thing and no matter how low it goes, your position will never go to zero. Eventually it'll come back. So the challenge of leverage trading is to make sure that the time of testing is over and it's not going to go back to a lower position to test. Also, you can use it in the opposite direction, which is, let's say, for example, I don't believe in the XRP project. I believe that it's going to go to, it's going to lose 90% of its value. What I can do is I can go to someone with XRP and say, listen, let me borrow this XRP from you and I'll give you interest on it and I'll give you back this exact same XRP in a year or 2 years or whatever. What does the guy have to lose? He's not planning on selling it. So people can loan me their assets. What would I do? I would sell that asset, get that money, wait for the price to go down, then buy it back cheap and the difference goes back to me.
That's shorting.
Yeah, that's shorting, exactly. And you can do that with leverage. So you can do what I just said, but instead of borrowing 1 XRP, you can borrow 10 XRP for the price of 1 XRP. You know what I mean? And if it goes up 10%, you just lost all your money. They close the position directly, whatever you put in. So it's more in terms of analyzing it in a way such that you know when the bottom is the bottom and you know when the top is the top. And you're going to be responsible, even if it goes back to test for half a day, even if it goes back to test for 1 minute. You have to be responsible for the fact that it's not going to go back and test anymore. And by carrying that responsibility, you earn the right to leverage. And if you're untrained with risk management, then I strongly do not recommend leveraging of any sort until you understand what proper risk managements are. In that case, then you could leverage based on respectable amounts with respectable risks. Other than that, it's no different than being in a casino.
That is true. What about the steps here? Like, how do you invest in the UAE? Like, if I want to go into crypto, I'm new to this, I have not the slightest clue. And how would you then advise someone to go into crypto in Abu Dhabi or in the UAE?
So there's a lot of brokers in that the UAE banks recognize. There's BitOasis. Their office is in Dubai. Basically, by the way, everything I say here is non-financial advice. So if anything happens, it's not my fault. I'm just sharing my experience, and do not take my word for any financial advice whatsoever.
He's covering his bum.
Just in case one of you guys decides to do something crazy and say, Wallah, Khalil told me.
Wallah, they saw it on my
Not
podcast.
financial advice. I'm saying it from now, I don't know anything about anything.
Limited liability over here.
Okay, this is my LLC, alright?
Mine too.
Alright? Basically, if you, BitOasis, they're a company registered here, so a lot of banks recognize it. And they keep a lot of tracks over who put in their money and what's their source of income. And they do a lot of KYC in place so that no one with suspicious records just throws his money there, buys whatever currency, liquidates it, and puts it in whatever bank.
Right.
Because remember, at the same time, exchanges, you have two options. You can either put cash in it, or you can put cryptocurrency in it. Because cryptocurrency is a currency at the end of the day.
Right.
So just as you're putting AEDs or dollars, you can also put Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, etc. So what if someone opens a brokerage account and he puts a mysterious amount of Bitcoin in there, liquidates it, and takes the cash into a bank? So that's why, like, not every broker would be allowed to trade freely from broker to bank. But there are some respected brokers like BitOasis. There's a good company called Rain. It's located in Bahrain, and they do a super extensive track recording over everyone's passport, visa, ID, the source of income, the whole KYC business, and even the money that you put in there. They ask you show us your bank statement to prove that it came from your bank.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? And otherwise things won't fly. Binance opened I think they finished opening an office in Dubai. They also do an extensive KYC. They only allow you to trade, I think, less than 1 Bitcoin a day or something like that.
Right, something like that.
Unless, even it's less than 1 Bitcoin, I think it was like $1,000. It's something very petty. And unless you give them your ID.
Right, unless you verify.
Yeah, and their verification is very smart. You know, I got verified in the same day.
Yeah.
Because I just scanned my Emirates ID, and it automatically did all the filing. No human went through the process.
AI is the future.
Yeah, it wasn't even AI back then. It was just a simple algorithm where you just scan your ID, and they could tell, yes, this is a real person from so and so and so and so. And
they ask you to move your face.
Yeah. And within the same minute, I got verified, and I was allowed to trade as much as possible.
Right.
And they keep records of all the transactions that you did. So in the future, when you want to put the money that you made into your bank account, and they go where do you get this money from? You always have evidence. Yeah, exactly. You have evidence that I did this move, and I did that move, and I did this move, and I bought this, and I sold this.
Right.
They keep, and every brokerage has this responsibility to keep track.
Mm-hmm.
And Feltana, which the world isn't just on a let go basis.
Right. It's not that easy.
Yeah.
But then, can you trust these places? I mean, look at what happened to giants like FTX.
FTX, yeah.
What's your thoughts on that? Can that not happen here?
This is why, look, there are certain, if it's one broker I trust, in a personal level, it's Binance. Because I believe the CEO, CZ, actually is passionate about this project. And he's not just doing this for the money. I think that he's one of the few people in the world that actually wants to change the world for the better. If it's one person I trust in this industry, on a personal note, it's CZ. Until he proves me wrong, my faith is in him. But still...
But that's fatal.
I know.
Until he proves me wrong.
Then I won't have a second chance, right? But still, because look, there's some advantages in Binance. Like, for example, did you know that Binance is basically a bank, a crypto bank. Because in theory, you can store your assets, whether it's fiat money. Fiat is like dirhams or dollars or rupees or whatever.
Easy exchange.
Universal currency. And you can also store cryptocurrency. And you can either store it there with interest, or you can store it there just for storage, or it literally works like an actual bank, except they don't give loans. Which makes it, I guess, safer than an actual bank.
True.
But still, because of the currencies in a very volatile stage right now, we're in very uncertain times. But still, it acts and functions like a bank. You can even request a credit card from Binance.
Oh, wow.
So, did you ever hear of a Binance credit card?
No, but then that's a loan, though.
No, like that. What you do is you apply for it after you're verified and everything, and they send you on physical mail, a credit card.
Wow.
And on the app, you could actually transfer some of your crypto assets into this crypto credit card. And let's say I'm in a coffee shop and I buy something and I want to pay with a tap. It converts. Let's say I have Ethereum in that credit card. It converts the Ethereum, sells it in the open market, takes whatever dollars or dirhams or whatever currency you wanted to use, and transfers it through the card into the into the machine, and it's on a tap basis and everything. It works just like a normal card. It's actually, I think it was either Visa or MasterCard, the logo on it.
Crazy.
So anything that like Visa works in, that Binance card works in with it too.
Wow.
So, but of course, because it's very new, there's a limit of $10,000 per day. So there's a limit for how far you can go with that kind of stuff.
I mean, the average.
You can't buy a house with a Binance credit card. You know what I mean? But still, like for day-to-day basis, it's inshallah within the coming 5-6 years, we'll start seeing this more and more. But of course, the world has to be more comfortable and to regulate what's going on with cryptocurrency.
Where do you see cryptocurrency taking? In, let's say, or like the trajectory for cryptocurrency? It went down to, Bitcoin went down to 16,000 and then up to 23 now, and so volatile. Where do you see it going in the next 10 years?
Look, I'll tell you something. This coin will keep going down until one thing happens. When people stop leveraging this coin, then it can have a chance to go back up. Until then, there's no hope with this coin. But one day, when the market is absolutely flattened, and there's no one with money left to leverage this coin, and the only ones left in the market are people that believe in this coin and wouldn't sell it the next day for an extra 5-10%, when that happens, then this coin has a chance. But until then, as long as there's enthusiastic people like me trying to leverage this coin, there is no hope until people like me get liquidated out of the market, which will happen one day. But right now, it's happening. Look, it's happening slowly. Like if you compare 2 years ago, everybody was in a hurry to leverage this coin, right? From the crazy directions it was taking, there aren't much leveragers left.
Right.
Maybe they're out of the market. Maybe there's still room, right? But only until people give up on leveraging and actually hold it and start to believe in it, we can see what happened in 2019, which was the all of a sudden
boom.
10x. It was actually 20x within like 6 months or whatever.
Wow.
And that was just the base Bitcoin. There was also the altcoins went up 100x, 200x, 1000x.
Made a lot of money.
You know what I mean? Yeah, a guy who just put $100 in Dogecoin became a millionaire.
Crazy.
Yeah.
From 100 to 1 million.
But my advice is this. The biggest mistake you can do is invest in not just cryptocurrency, but anything. Invest in anything that has existing hype. This is the worst thing you can do.
Like NFTs?
Anything. Anything that has hype. And by the way, NFTs has lost its hype. But still, let's say, for example, space tourism. There's a company called SPCE, Space.
Okay.
And it's called Virgin Galactic. On the stock market, it's called SPCE.
Right.
Yeah. Virgin Galactic, basically, it wants to promote space tourism. So for an affordable price. So let's say something reasonable for space tourism would be maybe $10,000, right? Compared to $1 million someone would pay to go with Blue Origin, for example. That initially had a lot of hype. And you can see the price went from like $10 to $60 to $10 to $60 to $10 to $6. Because there's a lot of hype. And when there's a lot of hype, there's a lot of leverage. And when there's a lot of leverage, there's a lot of chaos. And until these people are absolutely wiped in the market, and the only people left standing are the people that just bought it and went to sleep. And they didn't buy it because they want to be rich tomorrow, they bought it because they believed in it. When these are the only people that are left standing, only then your investment can flourish.
Nice.
So never invest in something that has a lot of hype. Wait for people to give up on it.
And then invest.
And then invest. I'm serious.
Right on.
Also, important note, you brought up something important earlier about FTX. And it just goes to show that it's important to always put your crypto in a cold storage. Now, before I tell you what that is, let me just explain a little bit about cryptocurrencies.
And maybe touch on how FTX, what was FTX and what happened to it. I'll
get to the whole thing. So, cryptocurrencies is actually a private key that contains an X amount of Bitcoin, Ethereum, whatever, right? Let's just stick with Bitcoin, keep it simple for now, right? You have a key. And in this private key, it has proof that, I have all my assets and so on, so on, so on, so. Now you might ask yourself, and what makes that key unique? What stops people from copying that key, right? So if you take this private key and you make it go through a SHA-256 algorithm, or encryption, what it does is that it converts the private key into something called a public key.
Right.
But it is impossible to do the reverse. If you take a public key and you want to convert it to a private key, it's impossible. It's one direction. So for people to prove that they are the owners of the so-and-so assets, they gotta prove that they can make a public key from a private key.
Right.
And a private key is normally composed of, I don't know, like 256 ones and zeros, something like that. But it can be simplified into a 24-word passphrase, and you can choose the words that you want. And if you memorize these 24 words, you could, at any time, convert it into a private key and convert that private key into a public key and prove to everyone on the blockchain. The blockchain is where all the proving happens, that, oh, this transaction happened, that transaction happened, this wallet has this much, this transaction
So it's
happened.
like a tracker kind of.
Exactly, right.
Because all this is going way over my head, honestly.
Sorry.
But to simplify it, so it's pretty much, you have this key where you can prove that it's yours by putting it through
SHA-256,
which is a tool.
It's an encryption.
And
it gives you out a public key, and when
which proves that this is yours.
That proves that
it
it's
tracks
yours.
everything, all the history of
Exactly.
what you've done.
Exactly.
So that means that this is privately yours. This is yours.
Exactly.
And nobody.
And as long as nobody knows what your private key is, you will have your assets no matter where you go in the world, right?
And that's how you defend yourself against something like FTX happening.
Exactly.
But what is FTX and what happened to it?
So, I'm gonna try to avoid names.
Let's not get sued.
Yeah. So a person opened a company called FTX, and it was basically like Binance, where you can send them fiat money like dollars or dirhams or whatever, and then you can buy and sell and leverage and do futures and do options and all these different trading schemes with cryptocurrencies, right? But he was the owner was a bit too enthusiastic, right? He wanted to grow even faster. He was getting a lot of money, but at the same time, he started thinking like a bank.
Okay.
Not all banks, just certain banks, like banks that got bankrupt in the past, banks that
Golden Rule.
banks that over leveraged. By leverage, I mean, let's say I put you're a bank, I give you $100, and you're playing with that $80, and the $20 you're keeping it just in case enough people want that $20, right? So he decided to over leverage his assets by taking a lot of it and investing it into, I think, his girlfriend's company. He opened another company and put it in his girlfriend's name in Hong Kong. It was called Alameda Research. And basically what that company was doing, it had nothing, maybe they did a bit of research, but you know.
A bunch of BS.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not getting sued, all right? If you think it's BS, to each their own, right?
The chances of this going public and anyways.
You never know, right?
You never know.
So, basically, what people know is that they used that money to Alameda Research. Used the money that was loaned to them by FTX, because he gave it to them as a loan. Because in the world of business, you can't just give people billions of dollars.
Right.
He loaned the money to Alameda Research, and they were basically leveraging that money to make even more money. So if it worked out, this guy would be a trillionaire, and if it doesn't work out, this guy would go broke. But he's young. He's whoever this owner is.
I mean, you can easily go Google the person.
I'm not gonna I'm not gonna say his name, right? Just in case, because even though everyone suspects him of being, he did what he did, he's still undergoing trial, and
until proven guilty.
Until proven guilty. So, due to my personal ethics, no matter what the evidence is, I'm not gonna call anybody a criminal or anything until a verdict comes out. So until then, I'm just saying what the accused story is.
Right.
Basically, the owner is a young guy, and he said, if I, do this trick and it works out, I would get a lot of money. Worst case scenario, I got like $2 billion in the back door, and I can just take the money and go live my life.
Right.
Yeah, and he took that risk because I guess he was young, you know, and this is all just like what the accusation is. I'm not saying that happened or
so the
didn't
trial
happen.
is still.
Yeah, because the trial is still happening, right?
And just to backtrack and to save yourself from something happening like that, again, it's going through the Shaw 256.
The reason why I was talking about this entire thing is because I want to go to the next point, which is called a cold storage wallet.
Right.
Right? So basically, instead of you memorizing 24 words and I don't know what, you can store it all in something that looks like a USB. There's some good companies that deliver it, like Trezor Wallet.
Right.
Anyway, this USB, it already has the private keys inside it, and it's basically unhackable. And if you forget your 24-word phrase or your passcode or whatever, then it's gone forever.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So you get this USB, you plug it in, you know, you plug it into the blockchain or whatever, in the internet, right? And what you can do is that you can transfer currencies from Binance or Rain or BitOasis or any crypto exchange, and ask for them to deliver these assets into your cold storage using the blockchain.
Oh wow.
So basically, you give the order. All right, I want to transfer 2 Bitcoin from my account to this. Like you give the address, right? It does the transfer, and of course, like these exchanges kind of act like wallets themselves. They have their own private keys.
Right.
Every time you make a Binance account, they automatically generate a private key for your account. So it transfers from that private key, makes a public key. Hi, I'm public key A. I want to send this much to public key B. And the thing automatically gets it. You unplug it. Now your assets are off the internet. Imagine. So no matter what happens to Binance, no matter what happens to FTX, no matter what happens to Rain, no matter what happens to whatever, it's with you. It's in your physical hand. And if you're extra protective, you can break it and just memorize the 24 words.
No, thank you.
Order a new cold storage wallet and put in those 24 words, and this will act like the one that you just broke. So you can either keep that with you, or you could break it and just memorize the 24 words. But if you got one letter wrong, it's gone. It doesn't exist.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah, no thank you.
But
my Alzheimer's, bro. My early stage Alzheimer's.
Oh my God, man. But you know, there are advantages to keeping it in Binance, which is like if you die, obviously if you die, you can't give your cold storage to your kids, right? Or tell them what the password was. Binance has a system where they give your assets to your next of kin on request. So they have a legacy system.
Wow.
So that is an advantage, to be fair.
Right.
So I wouldn't just say, everyone take your money out of these exchanges. Also, it's a way to legitimize your money, right? Because you can't just claim, I have 50,000 Bitcoin, but it's in my safe. No one's gonna believe you, right? But if it's in your Binance, then it legitimizes your position. So yeah, that's what. There was more to the FTX story. I just gave you like the quick summary of it.
Let's give them the quick summary of it.
Yeah.
Go search it for sure. If you're listening so far, thank you very much. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below on cryptocurrency and FTX, and how maybe you have another way to protect yourself. But who knows? So let us know your thoughts on the comments below. Also, where do you think AI is going to take this? I mean, because cryptocurrency is all algorithms, and you can study algorithms. And with the new AI and emerging AI like ChatGPT, it's all algorithms and language learning tools. Can they create an algorithm or an AI to trade? And where do you see that happening, man? Because like the new world that I see in 10 years is ridiculously advanced.
Let me get something out of the way. There will never ever be something that you. Like the kind of technology where you have a goose that lays golden eggs, this will never happen.
I think it's happening, man.
Even when it happens, and I'll tell you why. I understand your point of view, but there's something people are forgetting, right? So let's say we went 100 years back or 200 years back, and we told people, imagine if you had cars and all this energy and all these I don't know what and advanced technologies and computers and monitors that give you whatever information you want. People would assume that, if everyone has this, then we'll all be rich. are we all rich?
I'm not talking about rich though.
I know, but you're talking about trading bots,
Yeah.
right? The idea of a trading bot essentially is to get rich, is to make an infinite amount of passive income. But there will never be a real infinite amount of passive income, because let's go for the AI trading bot, right?
Right.
Let me just tell you one thing about FTX, so you can understand what I'm about to say about the trading bot. You know why when FTX like he leveraged some positions, he thought he was gonna make it, big, but it backfired and took away everything? You know, I think if he didn't make those trades, his positions would have worked. But because when somebody sees that there's a person doing a very strong long position, which is like expecting the market to go up, they realize that this is money for the taking, because they have more money than that person.
Mm.
So they can force the market to go the opposite direction and liquidate this person and take their money. So these people have a lot of tools, like we call them market makers. These are people with a lot of money and enough money to actually control, like they have a plus 10% or minus 10% range in the market at any time. They can make it go up 10% or down 10% whenever they want, right?
Mm-hmm.
They have that kind of power. So he would see like, oh, this user, it's probably the FTX guy, for example, he has a very big position on leverage here at, let's say, $40,000. And if we manage to make this go to $20,000, we'll get all his money because he'll be forced to be liquidated.
Mm-hmm.
So they look at you as a target.
Right.
Right? Even if logically it's supposed to go up, but because you put a bait or a bounty on yourself, they can change their minds.
Right.
And say, no, there's fresh meat in the market good.
So in turn, a lot of them are kind of bullies or whales of money.
I wouldn't call this bullying, I'd call it business.
Well,
because business is the hardest place in the top level.
Cutthroat. Let's call it.
Yeah. It's a bit like ma fi rahma. In Arabic we say like
no mercy.
Exactly. So let's say, for example, there was a very powerful trading bot and everyone had access to it.
Mm-hmm.
All that does is line all the fish in the same net, which makes it 10 times easier for the fishermen to just buy a big net, wait for them to pile up.
Seriously.
You know what I mean? Even if the AI is saying, yeah, based on the logic, 99% is supposed to go up.
So there's no logic with cryptocurrency.
There's no logic in anything where everyone is positioned in the same direction.
I see.
You know what I mean? When a bunch of people think the same way, but their purchasing power or their market power isn't powerful enough, someone with a bigger market power can force it into a certain direction.
Right.
And it's not illegal or anything, because it's just business. That, oh, if I, as a market maker, if I manage to force the price to go below this number, then I can also force it to go this much lower, right? It's kind of like, you know, when you're playing a racing game and you see like a like Mario Kart and you see like a booster,
right?
And like all I have to do is like angle this a bit and go in that direction, I'll get the booster. This is how they see it,
right?
To cut it short. So even with AI and all these things, these people evolve as well, and they'll get even better AI to go against your cheap ass AI. You know what I mean? So and there are AIs out there right now, and they're not foolproof.
It's still emerging for sure.
And the better they emerge, the better the advanced AI emerges. And you think we're gonna have the really advanced AI? Regular people are gonna have
the regular stuff.
In order to make it in the market, you need to do one thing: be fearful when people are greedy, and be greedy when people are fearful. That's all it takes.
Drop the mic on that one.
Warren Buffett, by the way. That's it. That's the big secret. When everyone's like, oh yeah, this is going to the moon, khalas, we made it, this is a safe bet 100%. You need to learn when to take a step back, and you need to know when to have a strong heart and to go in. Like in the financial crisis of 2008, everyone actually believed that our modern financial system was gonna collapse. Mm-hmm. Everyone believed that. Of course, we were pretty young back then. We didn't understand what everyone was going crazy about. But there was a very strong consensus at the time that it's over. Because we don't know about Lehman's Brothers because we were born in the 90s and we were kids when it was a big thing, right? But back then, Lehman's Brothers was like saying Rothschild. It was a very big deal. And for something like that to go bankrupt, it's like you're playing chess and you just lost the queen. Everyone's saying, oh, you're going to lose the game. You might as well, you know? So it was a very big last-minute surprise that, you know, the financial system came back to the way it was. But the people that had a bit of heart and decided to invest when everyone was afraid and the edge of '08 or early '09.
That's when people.
Or maybe like mid '09, when like everything was on the floor of houses in the States weren't worth were less than a year's salary or whatever, and people decided to go and just take the whole market because there were so many houses the banks couldn't afford to maintain all these houses, right? They were selling them in bulk. So the millionaires that decided instead of hiding all my money away from the banks, let me go back and be the first in line to regrow the economy. Those are the billionaires of today.
All the hedge fund owners actually had the heart to go in.
Yeah, exactly. Because they were greedy when people were fearful.
That's true.
And of course, you need to know the vice versa. Because before '08, you wouldn't people didn't have money to go grocery shopping because they'd invested all in the market.
Right.
They would rather not eat because why would I eat if I can just? Because it was just going up endlessly. It wouldn't stop. It wouldn't even take a hiccup. It was a no-brainer that you just want more money, just go put it in the stock market.
Just put it in the stock market and things will work out.
Exactly, yeah.
Crazy.
So,
and do you think right now people are very afraid, actually, in the market with what's happening, geopolitical wars in Eastern Europe and all that stuff?
I don't know much about...
People are scared.
Yeah. I don't want to talk a lot about foreign things, but economically speaking, a lot of economists are expecting a recession to come by within the year or next year. But there's a big divide right now. Personally, I'm out of the market.
Mm-hmm.
And not financial advice again. Everything I say here is not financial advice, right? Personally, I'm out of the market because after COVID, the market went up 400%. Right, the S&P went from $1,000 to now it's $4,000.
Something.
Yeah. I just don't feel comfortable.
No.
Because where's it gonna go? $1 million? So normally, what I would do is I would wait for the thing to retest the point where it had a mega jump. But at the same time, it gets you thinking that naturally the market wants to retest old positions to make sure that this is my real price. But as it's going down and to retest, people are not naturally logical when they think in groups.
Right.
And there's a very clever analyst. His name is Elliot Wave. Elliot Wave. He came up with a theory of how hurdle groups act. Right? Or they calls it mob mentality.
Mob mentality, yeah.
When a lot of people are together, they tend to act in a particular way, and that way is very natural, and it rarely changes, right? So when this mob mentality sees a drop of 20 or 30%, to me that's logical because the market needs to retest older points to make sure that this is the price. But when the mob mentality sees it dropped 30%, they'll panic. They'll go, what if it drops another 30%?
Right.
And then when it drops another 30%, more people in the mob will go oh, what if it drops another 30%? And that's like a domino effect. And where it's supposed to naturally go down 30% and have a full stop there, it's just going to turn into an avalanche.
Right.
You know what's an avalanche, right? When the snow starts but it keeps collecting momentum along the way. And something like this will keep on happening until one of two things happen. Either the economy gets destroyed, which is very unlikely, or there are no more retailers left in the market. No more high leverage people, no more people who are very emotional, just logical people are left in the market.
Like logical buyers.
Exactly. To say, the market is actually worth $3,000. Well, right now it's $1,500. So even if it goes lower, I know for a fact that I'm buying it below price.
Right.
So I'm gonna buy no matter what. When these logical people step in, that's when the market starts to bounce back up. But given the scale of how fast it rose over the past few years, and this 20% correction that we're seeing is nothing compared to the 300% markup, right? To me, this is natural, but people are already talking about it. Like, oh my God, because it's going down very slowly. And they're like, oh, souk taya. But this is nothing. Yeah. So what are you going to do when it actually goes further down?
People are just going to panic.
It just shows me how insecure some traders are.
Right.
From a simple drop of 20%, and people are already talking about the end of the world. What's going to happen when it drops 60% like it's supposed to?
And smart, if you're smart, if you keep holding your money until these guys get, all the emotional buyers and sellers get swept under the rug and it stabilizes and then it goes back up. You keep on holding.
Exactly. But I'll tell you something, Hassan. If you don't sell, you don't lose. As long as you're not leveraging and you're buying spot.
Right.
No matter how low the price went, you never lose until you sell.
Until you sell it.
So, but at the same time, this is like a safe way to trade. But there is a more advanced solution, and that is, or a more efficient method, and that is to buy when the price is not fair. Not for you, but for the market. Let's say, for example, I did my studies and I found that Tesla is worth, this is just an example, right? Tesla is worth $60. Tomorrow I see it worth $30. It's not a fair price for the market for me to buy at 30. That's when I buy.
Right.
Some people, because they're very fair people in nature, they see it go 60 and they buy at 60. Because, my studies say that it's worth 60. It's going to keep dropping.
But it's going to drop.
If you want to really make a difference, buy at an unfair value when it's in your advantage.
Right.
Not at fair value. This is a big mistake a lot of people do. Like, you get a lot of phone calls from traders and from brokers and stuff like, yeah, right now we are indicating that this is the fair value for Facebook. So you should buy. Oh, okay, it's fair value, so I should buy. Don't ever buy at fair value. Buy under the fair value.
That's your advice right there.
Oh, this is no financial
advice.
This is not financial advice. I was pointing at the cat over there, not the camera.
But yeah, that's crypto world and the UAE, a little bit of crypto world and crypto world in general. So it can go above an hour. It's fine with me. Do you have something to do?
No,
you're good.
I'm pretty free. Yeah.
I know we said we're going to dive into crypto. We're going to dive into aliens and conspiracy theories and advanced civilizations. I don't know if we have the time.
It's all right.
I don't know if we have.
I'm mainly a crypto guy. I don't know what he's talking about.
That means we gotta
aliens. I don't know what
we're gonna bring you in here again for some conspiracy.
I don't believe in any of that stuff. All right. I don't know what you heard. I'm just a crypto guy.
I'm just a crypto guy. That's all I am. But for someone trying to open their own, trying to start their own trading and they're new to it, what advice can you give them?
Patience, and I don't just mean that bluntly, because everyone's going to tell you patience, right?
Right.
When I say patience, I mean, let's say you have a lot of money in the bank. You have, let's say, 2 years worth of salary in your bank, and you get like this boost inside you, like, yeah, I have the power, I can buy it anytime, right? Sometimes it's hard to see the market go in crazy waves, and you're just missing out, right? And you go like, I should have bought, I should have sold, I should have bought, I should have sold. When I say patience, I mean, sometimes, even if you have the money, it doesn't mean you should be opportunistic for anything. Sometimes you need to wait for the opportunity. And let's say, for example, I don't have that much, but let's say I have $1 million dirhams with me right now, right? Sometimes the biggest mistake I can do is, okay, in the haram I'm leaving my money in the bank. I should do something with it. This is a mistake. If there's no opportunity, don't do anything with it. Just because you believe in crypto doesn't mean you should invest in crypto unless you find an opportunity. Once you find an opportunity, even if you have 1,000 dirhams in the bank or 1,000,000 dirhams in the bank, that's when you go in. Not based on, how much, oh yeah, I have 1,000,000, I can throw 100,000 here, 200,000 there, or wait a few. No. Wait for an irresistible opportunity, because these things happen all the time. There's times.
What is an opportunity? Can you define them?
I'll tell you what an irresistible opportunity is, and I'll tell you when they happen. Irresistible opportunities happen when nobody has money.
Right.
This is when an irresistible opportunity happens. I had a friend who had 10,000 dirhams worth of collectibles, right? And you can I went to eBay and I checked their value, and yeah, they're worth that much. But I was willing to sell it for 1,400 dirhams. Why? Because he was like on a month absent leave from work, and he really needed money to pay for some loans or rent or whatever. So he's willing to sell them on the spot for 90% cheap, right? That's just like an example of an irresistible opportunity. When you see something that has lost 90% of its value, no matter what it is, unless it's FTX, right? This is when you can go in heavy. Other than that, and some people don't believe there's such a thing as an irresistible opportunity. They think buying half market price is like the best thing that can ever happen. No, irresistible opportunities happen all the time. Like Virgin Galactic, the company I told you about.
Mm-hmm.
You know how many times it went to $60 and back to below $10?
Wow.
It's a new company. It's only been there for I think 4 or 5 years, and it went through those ranges. Remember, 60 below 10, 60 below 10.
6x all the
time. It went that way I think 4 or 5 times.
Wow.
Imagine. So imagine how many irresistible opportunities happen in that one stock. By the way, right now it's at $5. Not financial advice, but
go buy.
No. Seriously, don't. What if they go bankrupt?
And if you lose, you know where to find.
No financial advice whatsoever, right? When you see something that you don't believe is going to go bankrupt and lost 90% of its value, this is an irresistible opportunity. When you find people they don't have money anymore to buy property, that's when you buy property. When you find that people don't have money to invest in the stock market because they lost it all, that's when you invest in the stock market. When you see that all the fish have left this part of the ocean, that's when you go look for food.
And you're assuming that a lot of us have money when no one has money.
This is, by the way, this is the biggest challenge. Watching all your friends invest and you staying out. And then watching them lose all their money and then you going in. You know how rare it is.
Scoop up the...
You know how rare it is to be in a world where everyone's broke except for you?
Mm-hmm.
This is when you find the irresistible opportunities. And only then. But there's another lesson to it, because in such a world, you're going to have a lot of scammers. So if you're just a little clever, then you can 10x at any cycle, all right?
This is not financial advice.
This is not financial advice.
Khalil, it was a pleasure to have you.
Likewise.
Thank you very much.
Always a pleasure.
All the best. And until next time, where can we find you?
At Khalil_A_55. That's my Instagram. I don't give financial advice, alright? But yeah, that's me.
If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below, or find Khalil if you have any. If you have any questions, this is not financial advice. We'll see you next time. Get out of here. Thank you for watching the Hassan Saad Show. If you want to support this channel, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so whenever I upload, you'll get notified.